What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we got some more RPG horror stories. Hey, look at that, I'm making a use of that second hand now. Don't worry, the book will be returning at some point once the holiday season is over, but I got a question for you. Are you planning to do something for D&D or TTRPG that is lifted with holiday season, Christmas, merriment, Yuletide, whatever you like to call it in your universe? Let me know what you're doing for your campaigns or sessions down below in the comments section, and I'm gonna get to my first RPG horror story for today. Militant vegan Dampier derailed the campaign with the DM backup. The fact that this sort of thing had been an issue more than once when I tried to join online TTRPGs is honestly wild. At this point, I can't tell if I just have bad luck, if the hobby affects a very special kind of internet personality, or if I keep wandering into games where people forget that there is difference between roleplay and real life. This is a homebrew campaign advertised as story heavy but chill. Nothing about IRL activism, politics, or ethic debates. DM seemed friendly enough during the first session, very enthusiastic about the world, very Tumblr-esque in a way that talked about the world, but not in a way that felt like a red flag at first. Everyone else seemed normal and our characters were pretty standard for any campaign otherwise. One of the players was running a Dampier witch, cool concept and leaned hard into the gothic horror angle. In character, this witch regularly consumed human blood as part of the magic. It was framed as morally grey at best and outright disturbing at worst, but everyone was fine with it because, you know, fantasy horror game. Out of character is where things went sideways. During one of our early sessions, we were chatting casually while waiting for someone to reconnect. Someone mentioned grabbing breakfast before game and joked about burning bacon. The Dampier player immediately pivoted into a lecture about how eating meat was immoral, cruel, and indefensible. Not joking at all about it. Oh, I see. I think we have a word for that kind of people. They're called Tumblrites, I think? I don't remember actually. But either way, they're more like a prude than anything else. You know, the kind of person that gotta lecture you about everything every time you do something even remotely indefensible, in their words, I suppose. If you decide to eat meat, they'll lecture you about eating meat and you're hurtfully, cruelly punishing the creatures out there. Try to eat vegetables. How dare you eat vegetables? Don't you know plants are alive? How dare you breathe? Don't you know the air is a living matter? You heathen! Stop breathing, stop eating, stop doing anything at all. You're also the kind of person who would lecture you because you decide to drink water and it's like, did you know Hitler drank water? Are you Hitler too? I know I'm more embellishing, but I'm kind of getting the general gist of the kind of player this person is. Somebody that can have fun. They're the kind of person that virtue signals and tries to make other people feel bad because they're saying, I am doing all this and this is my virtue signal. How dare you not follow my virtues, you heathen? And just kind of go from there. Not a fun person to be around for sure. At first, people try to brush it off or redirect, but the DM didn't. DM backed them up. They were framed as valid ethical stance and gently suggested that people be more mindful about what they joked about because it could be upsetting. This became a recurring thing. Oh great, now the DM is a checkpoint fun police or virtue police. I don't even know at this point what kind of words it is. Either way, I feel like this player and the DM should probably be stayed away from forever if this is the kind of game they want to run. You got like a horrible combo over here, but we got a virtue signaling asshat and the DM that backs up what virtue signaling asshat is saying. And they're basically creating like a whole like moral vacuum that basically it's like if you aren't holier than them, then basically you're the devil or Hitler or whatever you are at this point. God forbid you decide to have a conversation with other players of saying, yeah, I had chicken burger today, I'm gonna get pizza tomorrow. Don't you know that pizza has ham on it, you heathen? How dare you murder all those pigs for that? Seriously, it's the kind of person that's a buzzkill at the table. And the fact that DM is backing him up and doubling down on that, oh my god, what a nightmare. Any mention of food, even tangentially, somehow turned into an out-of-character rant about veganism. The same player would get genuinely upset if anyone mentioned eating meat in real life. Meanwhile, the character continued to drink human blood on screen, sometimes in fairly graphic detail, which the DM had zero problem indulging. Cognitive dissonance didn't go unnoticed. It's not cognitive dissonance, this is literally main character syndrome. The player wants to be able to get away with doing whatever they want, to be holier than thou and the most virtuous one at the table, and shame everybody else for, God forbid, not being the most virtuous at the table. God forbid decide to have some chicken pot pie in game, you're suddenly getting a lecture for no reason. But yeah, sure, you playing as a vampire that literally kills people and drinks the blood in cold, merciless way. So that's completely fine, that's okay. We're not gonna turn this into a moral quandary all of a sudden. But if somebody decides to talk about eating french fries at McDonald's and sound like sin against the economy. Oh no, McDonald's, capitalism. How dare you support the capitalist regime? Seriously, it's the kind of person that you can have no fun with. And the fact that DM is backing him up on this is insane to me. Eventually, one of the other players pointed out, as calmly as possible, that a lot of vegan produce relies on exploited labor, including situations that are functionally slavery. The point wasn't to dunk on veganism, just to say the real world ethics are complicated and maybe shouldn't be litigated at the table, and this player was received atrociously. The Dampier player got angry fast. They accused the other player of arguing in bad faith, minimizing animal suffering, and derailing the game. DM immediately jumped in to defend them, framing the comment as inappropriate and hurtful, and reiterated that veganism was a moral baseline, not a debate topic. God, reading the story makes me want to go get a steak and just eat it right there in front of a vegan, unironically, just to really piss him off. Doesn't matter if you're vegan, you live by whatever style you want, live by whatever lifestyle you want to live by, but don't you dare, at a TTRPG table of all places, start moral grandstanding to everybody else and lecturing about how they're wrong and horrible people, just because people want to get together and just play some D&D. God forbid they want to play some D&D and not be just sitting there being lectured by two pricks at the table, the player and the DM. They sound insufferable, dude. Why are you guys staying in this sort of game? I would have noped out immediately. From that point on, people were tense. A more playful side chatter stopped. A couple of us started limiting what we said out of character to avoid setting off another lecture. The irony of being policed over bacon jokes while playing alongside a character who canonically preyed on humans was apparently lost on both the player and the DM. The final straw came when the Dampier player went off again after someone mentioned cooking dinner mid-session. DM not only allowed it, but reinforced it, suggesting that respecting the player's values was part of maintaining a safe table. No similar concern was ever extended to people who were uncomfortable with the blood drinking, which had never been discussed as an issue. Because this is the kind of player that literally is using their moral grandstanding not as like a sensitivity thing, but as a crudgel. They're taking their moral grandstanding and their uncomfortable feelings and literally bashing everybody over the head until they get their way, until they get whatever they feel like they deserve. Which I guess to, belittle other players and put them down for daring to talk about making dinner? Because God forbid, talk about making dinner all of a sudden is suddenly a problem because it's immediately assumed that they're going to be cooking meat or something. God forbid I want to have a salad. Oh, I can't have a salad because the tomato's gonna cry. I can't make a grilled cheese sandwich because the cheese is gonna scream from the ends of the world because it used to belong to a cow and now it's no longer there. God forbid I take a granola bar. Do you know how many grains were murdered to create that granola bar, you heathen? These are the kind of people that are no fun. I can't believe y'all even decided to stick around for even more sessions at the table. It's to the point where you guys can't even talk about eating food because it immediately turns into a lecture and you guys are a little avoiding conversing at the table and having small talk and being comfortable because you try not to set out the one player that literally creates a problem and the DM that backs them up every single time. I swear, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like maybe the DM and the player, maybe they know each other, maybe they're in cahoots, maybe they're, I don't know, a couple or something, and they're just basically just moral grandstanding pricks all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on or why this is going on, but you guys stayed at this table for way too long. The one player is using their virtues and stuff as a crudgel to control everybody else and control the narrative. It's like, it's not about a lifestyle, it's about morality. Everything gotta be morality. Guess what? Morality changes, and people are different when it comes to morality. My morals are gonna be different from yours. You know what I say? Fuck your morality. I don't give a shit about your morality. I'm here to play D&D, not be virtue signaled by some prick on the internet out there. I don't care who you are. I don't care what lifestyle you came from. Leave me the hell alone. Let me roll my math rocks. You can take the virtue signaling and morality and just shove up your ass. I don't care about your lecturing, about your moral grandstanding, and nobody at the table cares about it either. They just want to roll math rocks and play D&D and have fun. You know, the one thing you and DM are literally killing at the table? You know what I think is immoral? Ruining the beautiful concept that is escapism. God forbid people just want to play a little bit of D&D. God forbid they don't want to listen about some moral grandstanding prick talk about how they're a terrible person, but I'm holier than thou. I could do no wrong whatsoever. So you gotta shut up because I'm in the right and you're always wrong. Literally, main character syndrome. I hate it so much. After that session, a few of us talked privately and realized we were all exhausted. Not by the game, but a constant moral grandstanding and the DM's refusal to set boundaries when it came to out-of-character behavior. So we just bowed out, thanked the DM for the time, and moved on. The campaign continued without us, apparently with no changes. Good. No D&D is better than bad D&D, and especially with this situation. Let's move on to the next story for today. I forbade vomit eating. Now I'm threatened with stalking. What? Okay, I am just hooked because of this story, because, I mean, it's gonna be gross, probably. You forbid a bad act and now there's stalking? What? It was my first time playing as a master, and it was disgusting. Amongst the players were 3 of my friends who were playing D&D for the first time, and my boyfriend with a lot of experience, but he wasn't at the second session. Among them was one extravagant guy who played an elf. This elf was a problem player. At the second session, the elf played his own music over mine. It was ironic stuff, literally about crap, basically as inappropriate as possible for D&D. Aaron complained that it was hard to play with that music on, but he ignored all requests. That should have been an immediate kick. I know it's, first game and everything, second session ever, but just for the future, that's an immediate kick at my table. Just instantly. It's fine if you want to play music for yourself, but don't make everybody else listen to it. I wasn't paying attention to what was happening. Didn't notice that another player was dying until I told him. Was rude to all NPCs and party members, and demanded that others pay for him. The peak was when he started describing how he tied up a captured goblin, made a rub against his crotch. Then he began describing how he shoved his fingers into its mouth, made it vomit, and ate the vomit. Ew. After the fight with the goblins, he went around licking the corpse's feet. This is a fetish, right? This has to be a fetish, right? The guy's just bringing his own fetish to the game, right? Ugh. I was in shock and didn't react at all. Decided to deal with it after the game. At the end, the characters stopped for a long rest, and I suggested a role-playing interactions between the characters. But instead, they started discussing the music that was playing, politics, and so on. It was pretty frustrating, but seeing how well they had role-played in the first session, I thought all this could be easily fixed. How wrong I was. Wait, so everybody at the table just started talking like out of character, just about politics? Hold on 1 second. Is it just one problem player at your table, or is it everybody at your table? I don't understand. I don't know the dynamic of your table. We know nothing about the other characters except the elf, the gross elf that ate vomit. What's going on at your table? What kind of people do you have at your table? I've been friends with this elf for about a year, and we attended some classes together. After one class, I told him I didn't like the descriptions of eating vomit. I've never heard that many insults in my life. According to him, the DM is not supposed to enjoy the game. Quote, the DM is just there to roll dice. What? Players should have complete freedom regardless of the DM's wishes, and he doesn't care that other players might also feel uncomfortable. Apparently, I'm the one to blame for him starting to describe all of that and for playing the music. Because he was bored, and that apparently my fault. Demonstrably wrong. That is demonstrably wrong. You're not there to be an entertainment vending machine just to roll dice for everybody and just let players do whatever they want. You're there at the table as, yes, a DM, but just like the players are playing characters, you playing as a role of DM, but you're another player at the table. You set the rules, the bounds, what can be happen, what's going on, and you determine what is actually happening in the game. The players don't have just a free will control just to do whatever they want. They have a specific things they can do, of course, and it depends on the DM. Sometimes it can be allowed to go past those bounds, but you're not there just to entertain any random dumb idea or weird fetishes and stuff, which I'm pretty sure the licking feet thing was a fetish or something. You're not there as an entertainment machine, as a dispensary for everyone's fun and roles. You're there as a player to play in D&D, except you playing as a role of the DM instead of a player character, which means you get to call the shots on what is okay and what's not okay at your table. And if somebody or somebody's behavior is not okay, you need to tell them outright. I feel like this player is a main character syndrome kind of idiot that just wants to do whatever the hell they want to do, and they're probably the kind of person that whose parents never told them no. Mommy and daddy never said no, so therefore they feel like they can do whatever they want. What is it? Nepotism? I think it's nepotism. Oh, it's one of those fancy new words that everybody's adopting. I'm not fully sure. Either way, the guy sounds absolutely insufferable. Let's continue with the story. Second, he simply doesn't believe me that eating vomit is disgusting to me. In his view, if I read disgusting books, that I can feel disgust in other situations. He demanded that I provide arguments for why it's gross. I'm uncomfortable, please don't do that, said 10 times, was not enough for him. 3 weeks have passed, and they, Alf and his girlfriend, still don't believe that my issue was with his behavior during the game. Instead, I'm being accused of having some kind of a personal grudge against him that I'm supposedly hiding. That is insane. Also, why is their girlfriend coming into this conversation in the first place? Also, who in their right mind would defend somebody like that? Imagine, if you will, you have a partner that suddenly has to fight tooth and nail to convince the DM that vomit eating isn't disgusting. What kind of world do you have to live in? Are we living in the upside down La La Land? If somebody is arguing that vomit eating is not disgusting behavior, I feel like the only place they need to go to is a mental asylum. We need to open those back up and put those kind of degenerates, crazy lunatics in there. I feel like the loony bins need to be reopened in this situation. Because to me, that sounds crazy. It sounds insane that even they have their significant other, their girlfriend, defend defending, saying that vomit eating isn't disgusting? What kind of horrible degenerates are they? What kind of things do they do in the background? It has to be some sort of a fetish. It has to be some kind of a fetish. Has to be some sort of vomit-related fetish that they're just really into, really kinked up over, and that's what they're trying to argue to the DM. It's not a problem. It's not disgusting. Yes, it is. Your weird fetishes are disgusting. I don't care how much you like it. It is disgusting. We had no conflict before this. I simply said that I didn't like what happened during the game. I try to emphasize that there's nothing wrong with that kind of roleplay in general. What? But that I personally feel uncomfortable running a game like that. When he complained that the combat was boring, I said I would fix it and try to meet him halfway. When he was yelling at me, at the end of the conversation, he told me to go screw myself. Naturally, I refused to run a game for him. The same day, he yelled at me again on Discord, saying that I was a jerk move to make demands and refuse to play D&D because players depended on me. I was told several times that nobody cared about my unwillingness to play. But somebody that's making a big fuss about your unwillingness to play this, sure, I'm making a big deal about your unwillingness to play because they're crying and screaming at you saying, how dare you not play? Nobody cares if you don't want to play. Guess what, motherfucker? Find a new goddamn DM. This DM doesn't want anything to do with your shit. Leave him the fuck alone. And you know what, DM? You are fully justified for expressing yourself that you're not comfortable with specific topics, not comfortable with doing any of this, not comfortable with the whole vomit fetish or anything that this player is doing. And honestly, I can't believe you even tolerate it. You call this person your friend. That sounds insufferable. That sounds like the worst human being in all of existence. They're the kind of person that will literally start blaming you because, God forbid, you decide to have a problem with their disgusting, horrible, nonsensical behavior. And suddenly it's your fault because, God forbid, they can't take accountability and realize maybe I'm pushing the boundaries, maybe I'm in the wrong, because no, we can't be in the wrong. We're the main character. We're a main character idiot that has to do whatever they want to do because we feel like we're justified morally and spiritually. We can do whatever we want without any consequences. What an absolute ass. What an ass. I can't believe you even associate yourself with somebody like that. It's worth mentioning that his girlfriend also witnessed all of this. She was one of the players. She was present when they told me to go screw myself, and she was in Discord call. I've also been friends with her for about a year. Why is this person present in this conversation? Are they the kind of person that needs to be with their significant other for literally everything, just join at the hip? Why is she even there? Why is she on this idiot's side? Is she really that committed to being their girlfriend that she literally gonna say nothing to them at all whatsoever, even though they're clearly in the wrong? Why are they even there in the first place? Why even have them there? Over the following week, I received long messages from her about what a piece of crap I am, that I'm making the elf out to be the only one at fault, because there are always two people to blame in a conflict. Oh, she's that kind of person. You know what? No. F those kind of people. F those kind of people. They're the kind of people that literally, their person they're defending can do the worst possible thing and be a shitty human being, and they'll constantly defend her no matter what. They have this thing called bias. They have the bias for the person that you clearly having a spat with. You're defending your significant other, and that's well and good and all, but you're clearly on the wrong side, because not only are you defending the horrible actions, the rude actions that your boyfriend is doing to OP, but also you have the gall to say what a piece of crap the OP is for daring not to be involved with a rude, disgusting individual, because God forbid, that's a horrible thing to not want to associate with a shitty human being in the first place. God forbid OP is a terrible human being for not want to deal with this incessant prick of a person, this incessant prick of the elf. I stopped communicating with her as well after the insult, but she can't accept that and keeps messaging me at 2 a.m. demanding that I reply immediately. And last thing the elf wrote to me was a threat that he would stalk me everywhere, on social media and in real life, if I refuse to be friends with them. Blocking them on social media, but before you do so, take screenshots in case you need to give some sort of a court-mandated restraining order or something, because these are actual threats. These are the kind of things that you can take to the police and to court and put a restraining order on somebody to get people in legal trouble. Screenshot it, block them, and then just don't interact with them. Hopefully things don't get worse, and I wish you nothing but the best. These people sound insane. Imagine doing this kind of thing and having your little girlfriend back you up as well and try to make you feel like a piece of crap, because you have every reasonable right to say, I don't like this behavior. It is disgusting. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But God forbid you're the bad guy in this situation. Absolutely insane. Both Elf and their girlfriend can go fuck themselves, for real. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.